Hi, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor, and I'm your host, and I am not God. Obviously, and I'm not an expert, and I'm not a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of the microphone hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity in every day. Welcome to today's episode, where we're going to talk about, should you unfollow everyone you know on social media? Here's the thing. I have the unique situation where I get to talk to a lot of people. And one thing that strikes me is the constant theme of everyone feels lonely and everyone feels like they're the only ones who are lonely. And I worry that one of the reasons for this is that we might know too much about each other. And here's what I mean by that. I know one of the quotes that people love to say is it's hard to hate people close up. So if you get to know people, then you'll usually love them more, because once you really get to know someone, it's hard to hate people. And I think that's true. Here's the issue. And I obviously am very pro social media, since that is how I run my whole platform and movement. And I think it's a really powerful tool for connection and for good, and specifically for women. But the problem with social media is that it allows you to have information and access to details of people's lives without investing in the relationship that would normally get you to that level of intimacy or information about someone's life. You can now have access to the details of people's lives and their opinions and their beliefs without actually having to invest in an in-person connection with them. And that, in my opinion, is contributing to our loneliness problem. I sometimes think that internet access to each other is stopping us from having to invest in the actual connection of a relationship. I've noticed this new trend in my life where people who I know in real life, I often don't follow on social media. Like people in my neighborhood, I don't follow them on social media. A lot of my coworkers, I don't follow on social media for a very intentional reason of, I just want to have a relationship with them. I just want to get to know them. And I actually, like, once I have a relationship established, then I will go follow them on social media. But I have found that it does more for actual connection and actual friendship to just invest in the person in person rather than try to get more backlogged information or bigger view. I think sometimes we're skipping a step of actual connection. We have to remember that what we share on the internet is selective and curated, no matter who you are, whether you're an influencer or post your kids and your life. It's still like we're choosing what to put forward. And so if that's what we're consuming from someone, it's just pieces of, though. It's not the whole. And so I guess what I'm saying is, if we want to love people more, yes, it's hard to hate people close up. And also, we need to make sure that what we're doing is actually being close up in their actual lives, and not just consuming all of the content that they offer online and considering that connection, or considering that, like, oh yeah, I know them. That's not the same. It's not the same as investing in a really personal relationship. So if you find yourself in a place where you feel like you're so lonely, for one, please hear me when I tell you everyone is lonely. Everyone is lonely. Everybody wants connection right now. I don't know a single person who I've talked with who isn't in some way struggling with wanting to feel more connected and stronger relationships with people. So you're not alone in the problem. And two, I wonder about prioritizing in-person relationships for a minute. And I hesitate to say that because some of my favorite friendships, I mean, most of my best friends are long distance at this point. And so I rely on technology to maintain the friendships. So I'm not saying you can only be friends with people you know in person. But I do think, like, maybe for a minute, try to invest in Marco Polo and Marco Polo people instead. Or even just text people rather than messaging on Instagram or whatever. Go on a walk with someone. Go stand on the street and talk to your neighbor. Talk to a coworker, and take relationships at face value again and build those connections through real conversation. And so the intimacy actually grows and the vulnerability and trust grows, rather than fast tracking it through, oh yeah, I see all of her pictures online, so I know her. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. We need to love each other better. We need to connect with each other more. And I think that we do that through actual personal relationships. And so I guess my plea, my challenge, my encouragement, my hope is that we can all invest a little bit more in personal relationships and maybe not rely on the artificial connection that can be because of like the dopamine involved in internet friendships and internet connections. It can really trick your brain to be like, I'm connecting, I'm clicking, but it's not working. And so, yes, I'm pro social media. I think it has created beautiful places to connect on a certain way and to keep up with each other and to have more relationships and to know more people and to have meaningful conversations and to be inspired. And I really can't say enough good things. Again, very pro social media. But I think in our own lives, if you're feeling lonely and if you're feeling disconnected, it's time to maybe prioritize personal investment in people and let ourselves have a good experience with someone and like someone and even love someone, even if we don't know every detail about every opinion and belief they have. And even when we learn that their opinions and beliefs are contrary to what we believe, let's choose that connection. And chances are, and this is where the it's hard to hate someone close up really does come into play. Once you've established an actual connection, understanding, and relationship with someone, it's easier to navigate the differences and the conflicts. Let's invest in the connection before we write people off, before we cut people off, and before we sideline ourselves. I think we need to learn how to love our neighbor. And I think that maybe this is one path to do that. No, it's just been something I've been thinking about. Today is a good example of an episode where this is like a new thought that I'm having, and it's probably not well enough established to share, but we're going to try to make it work. I know that it's possible to have 1 million friends and still feel extremely lonely, and to be constantly surrounded by people but feel completely alone. And you can have 10,000 people like your photo and still feel like you don't have any actual friends to call. So I just want to encourage us all to invest in each other a little bit more and a little bit differently. And I think that's one way that we can slowly inch our world to a better place. Human connection. I think it might be one of the only things that matters. So today's divinity for the day is a little bit of a challenge where I want you, if you'll join me in this challenge, to go be the divinity in sending a text, send a Marco Polo, go drop something off at your neighbor's house, do something to instigate personal, real connection and see how it feels. Love you so much. Bye.